Everybody, happy Wednesday early evening. I was going to say afternoon. It's not quite afternoon. It's meteorologist Matt Wentz with you. I know this is early and I know this is dinner time for a lot of you, and I'd love to find a wonderful time where we can meet in between, because I am doing the morning shifts now. I used to be an evening meteorologist for 15 years and now I'm on the morning shift. So my bedtime is now. So that's problematic for any late broadcasts because I want to be at my best for you, and I'm not at my best the later we get. So there's that. So here's the deal. And here's the deal with Facebook Live. A lot of you can ask questions now, right? And we answer the questions now. But if you're watching this later, perhaps it's, 7, 8, 9 o'clock Central Time, and you're catching this and you're like, oh, you went early. The information's still the same. Okay. So you can go back and watch these on repeat. There's no need for you to be live. You just can't ask a question, but the information still stays the same. And if it gets outdated, we'll do a new live. That's just kind of how it works. So anyway, I appreciate those of you that are, maybe stepping away for dinner to join me. You don't have to do that. If you want to go back to dinner, you can do that and watch this later for sure. I don't want to interrupt what you guys are doing. But anyway, those of you that are with me, good evening to you. Hope you had a nice Wednesday. Nice quiet weather, right? We've got two things to talk about. I do want to hit on our little storm system that's moving through tonight. We're going to get a quick little coating of snow across the region. Not a big deal. And then I want to talk about the storm system Friday into Saturday. We've been highlighting it for a while, and I want to just kind of get the elephant out of the room in the way. There are some snarky people on Facebook, all right, that say this last storm was overblown, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to start by saying this. First of all, those of you that have been with me long enough, we did not overblow the last one. How many times did I say it wasn't going to be a big deal? Okay, just want to get that out there. And I want to talk about this one. Just because we're doing a live broadcast does not mean that this is the storm of the century coming, okay? I want to get that straight. I'm here to give you information so that you can plan ahead and figure out how bad this is going to be for you and your family, okay? That's the thing. So don't associate broadcasts with storm of the century. All right. And a lot of people do that. Not a lot of people, probably 3 of you. But I hear about it every time. And I've been in this business too long to take it. All right. So that's just kind of how it goes. All right. So first of all, we've got some early birds with us, and I want to thank you, Mary. You're always first on board. I love it. Dawn Z's with us. Jill's with us. Linda, Reed Mo, hello. Thanks for joining us on our YouTube channel. We've got Jeff tonight. Justin, good evening to you. Jennifer says, let's go. She's excited. I like that. I'm actually going to show that comment because that gets me going as well. April, you're welcome. Thank you for your caring spirit. She says, that's sweet. Rich, you're welcome as well. Everyone else is with us. Kaylin watching from the ER waiting room. Kaylin, I hope everything's okay. I do appreciate that, though. Hopefully they have good internet there. It's probably better than ours here at home. Aaron's with us. Brandy, Courtney, Jackie. There you go. Gail as well. All right. Martin, good to see you, buddy. I hope you're doing well. Appreciate you being with us. Andrea, you too. Okay. So let me quickly get the sponsors in. They keep the show free. They're awesome. They take care. There's just there's costs. There's stupid costs associated with stuff. Like a web page costs money, like quite a bit. And then all the software we use costs stuff too. So I appreciate them so much. So please support them where you can. Tiger Plumbing, tigerplumbing.net, place to go. Guys, you know them. They're the best plumbers in Northwest Indiana. Family-owned business. They're just fantastic. And they come out for free. They don't charge a trip fee, which is great. So tigerplumbing.net. PSAs are public service adjusters. Guys, it's going to get real cold next week, okay? If you have a burst pipe, heaven forbid, all right, we've got the precautions we're going to take for that. But if you have any problems around that or water breaks or any insurance claims whatsoever on your property, go to them first. It's publicserviceadjusting.com. What they do is they work between you and the insurance agency, so you don't have to do any of it, and they'll get you more money than you could possibly get on your own. They're fantastic, 5-star reviews. Everyone's used them. It's publicserviceadjusting.com. stjudehouse.org, that's our nonprofit. They do wonderful work. Again, nonprofit in Northwest Indiana around the topic of domestic violence. It's not a pretty topic. Are you sneaking in, bud? Come on in. Come say hi since you're here. Come on. Man, these kids are just, this is, you want to say your name? It almost seemed like I forgot because we've got 4 kids, but This is river. I don't know why can you get your finger out of your mouth?
Yeah.
You're 5. You can do that. Okay. Anyway, you can stay with me. So yeah, about the St. Jude domestic violence thing. Guys, if you need help around that, they're the place to go. Okay. And they'll meet you. They have a mobile advocacy program to meet you. Grigger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso. They've got 4-wheel drive vehicles out the wazoo right now. And again, that is going to be needed this next week. And finally, Ewing Mechanical Services. It's ewingmech.com. They do everything in terms of HVAC in your house. New furnace, if you need it. If your furnace goes out, that's a place to go. Again, wonderful family-owned businesses from right here in Northwest Indiana. So let's get to it. You want to get to the weather?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Can you get your hand out of your face?
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Are you eating that?
No, I'm not eating it.
Okay. I don't know where you got 26 cents. You've got more than I do. That's great. Okay. And you can go. Do you want to go play?
No.
Daddy's got to concentrate. Yeah. No. You want to just sit and watch?
Yeah.
Okay. You can do that too. That's fine. All right. Okay. So weather-wise, guys, let's jump into a lot of people saying hi to you as well. Okay. Cheryl, I know. I've learned that that's not always the best term, but that's what I grew up hearing. So there's that. Okay, guys, let's get into it. So 2 systems here. The first one is already moving into Western Illinois. This is a clipper system. There's not a ton of moisture with it, but you could see the well-defined swirl with that in areas of Iowa now pushing into Western Illinois. That's going to bring us a quick hit of snow tonight. It's mainly going to be our northern counties, so Lake Porter, LaPorte counties. We're going to get a little bit of snow from this morning rush hour. We may have a little bit left. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Half inch to maybe an inch or so with this. We'll have to watch depending on how far south the banding develops. But I don't want this little thing to sneak up on us tomorrow morning because it doesn't take much, right? An inch of snow for rush hour can cause all sorts of problems. So that's that. Let me show that to you on the modeling really quick. This is the system as it kind of moves through. Notice how there's snow with it, and then it kind of develops. It gets a little deeper as it moves through. So we can get a good burst of snow. This is just after midnight. This is like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. A decent burst of snow, says the modeling, that moves through here. A little bit of wind as well, and then it's out of here. So not a big deal. But in terms of accumulations, I mean, there's more up towards Wisconsin, but we're talking maybe a half inch to an inch, and it's not for everybody. It's mainly going to be our northern counties. So not a big deal tonight, but I don't want that to get lost in kind of this bigger picture winter storm that we could be dealing with Friday, Saturday. Okay. All right. Then our attention turns towards the west here. You can see there's just a fire hose of moisture. I mean, it looks like a fire and the smoke coming off of it. It's amazing. This moisture is just pluming into Northern California right now near Sacramento, and then it hits the Rocky Mountains, and it's the same effect as lake effect snow. When you have moisture coming in and it hits a terrain increase and that moisture goes up, condenses, that's what we're seeing right now is it's hitting the Rockies or the Sierras, I'm sorry, and it's going up in the air. So you're seeing kind of an explosion of moisture in areas of Nevada and, near Salt Lake City. Either way, this system dives south. And then by this time tomorrow into the daytime on Friday, it's going to become a full-blown low pressure, which is very similar to the one we just dealt with. The track is very similar to the one we just dealt with. The difference is there's Arctic air. And that's what I said on the broadcast earlier this week, is that this weekend storm is just a little bit different. It feels just a little bit different around here, okay? All right, so let's dive into it. We'll get some of these windows closed here. And I want to show you kind of what we're dealing with in terms of the system, all right, in terms of the global models, which would be a piece of cake if they were all right. But I want to show you the nuance in it. And the National Weather Service in Chicago actually talked about this quite nicely. I thought they had a nice write-up on it tonight. There's just some differences in the models that make all the difference with this winter storm. So there's still a lot of questions out there rather than answers. But I'll take you through it. I'll give you what my gut says, and we'll go from there, okay? So here we go. This is the storm system moves through the night, a little weak clipper system, again, some light snow. That's it. It's out of here by tomorrow. And then let me actually go back to the 12Z because I like that better. And then here comes our system. So Thursday night, we're fine. Friday morning is when this starts to move in, okay? It will likely start, and this is the Euro model, it'll likely start as perhaps some heavy wet snow, okay, initially. Sounds familiar, right? Kind of sounds like our last system. And then the Euro and the GFS, both global models, bring the rain snow line right up into our counties. Isn't that great for a meteorologist? Guys, can I just tell you the difference between a rain event for 4 hours versus all snow event is a lot. There's a big difference between that, because if you're having an inch per hour snowfall rates and you're cutting that down. Every single hour that you don't get snow is an hour that you're losing that accumulation. All right. So it's really tough to determine where that line goes. Either way, though, the Euro brings that line right through Northwest Indiana. Okay. So it turns our heavy, wet snow over to rain briefly. But here's where I think the models nail it. And this is from experience of dealing with storm systems like this with Arctic air rushing in. This is how it goes. The rain line works in, but then the Arctic air, which is heavy and dense, remember, cold air is heavier than warmer air. So it sinks and it settles. And there's a real heavy cold air mass coming in. So that will rush into the storm system. So that will take our rain line and quickly turn it all to snow as that cold air rushes in. Does that make sense? I hope you can kind of visualize that. That's what will happen with this. And that's what the models have happening here is rain changing quickly over to heavy wet snow by Friday night. And then there's no question in terms of precip types. So we're bringing all the kids in here. Emmy, you okay? Okay.
I'm scared to take the medicine.
You're scared to take your medicine? Okay. Can you talk to Mama about that? I'm in the
No. I already told her.
You already told her? Okay.
She's just making me do it still.
Okay, sweetheart. Now's not the time to talk about that, okay? All right. Yeah, you got to take your medicine. Someone was home sick from school today. So you got to take that, sweetheart. Okay. This usually doesn't happen. I had an office before. Anyway, okay, babe. All right. And so anyway, so we've got all snow after that with wind. Okay. And it gets bone chilling cold around here. I already talked about that this morning. We won't talk about what happens after that. All right. In terms of the problems with the modeling. All right. Here's the issue. All right. Global models, Euro and GFS keep us mainly snow most of the event when they bring a little rain in here for maybe 2 or 3 hours. Okay. The problem with that is that we are now getting a look at the high res models. All right. So we are getting a look at kind of the detailed models that can handle these systems a little bit better than the global models because they're on a more high res scale. And so as we go through time and we look at one of our high res models, this is the HER, for example, notice how far north it brings this rain. This brings rain all the way into Chicago. This is our problem. All right. Because especially for Chicago back towards Rockford, because the global models are saying anywhere from 12 to 18 inches out of this, but the high-res models are saying rain. That is a huge problem. Normally, there's not that discrepancy, all right? So as a meteorologist, our confidence in the storm system as of tonight is way down because the models don't agree, all right? So the HER brings barely any snow into Northwest Indiana. It has all rain on Friday with a real strong wind. That's going to be another issue from this. I think the wind's going to be stronger with this system than our last one. This is an incredible deep low pressure, 978 millibars as of Friday afternoon. But it brings rain in with this. Okay, it doesn't go any further than that, but you get the picture. All right, it's a pretty rainy scene. Let me take you to the NAM Nest. This is the other global model that we deal with. And watch what happens with this. As this thing moves in, look at that. Barely any snow, all rain with it the entire time. And again, this is the model I wanted to show you because I like this one best. It has all rain until Friday afternoon, and then boom, everything changes over to wet snow. I agree with this. This is the one I like as of tonight. And the reason why is because of that dense cold air that I was talking about. All right. So this, as of right now, is how I think things will evolve. Our storm systems throughout the course of our short winter so far have continued to trend warmer and warmer, right? We watch, it shows a big snowstorm in Indianapolis and it misses us. And then the next model run the next day brings a snowstorm over us. And then the next day it brings warmer air even further north. So that's kind of what's happening in this El Nino winter. That combined with some warming, right? We have warmer temperatures than what the models are saying. A lot of these computer models and their algorithms, they think there's snow on the ground right now because it's January. There's not a lot of snow on the ground across the Great Lakes as of right now. So it could be factoring that in. They have kind of a cold bias to them. So all those things considered, I do think we get rain out of this. All right. I don't think this is going to be the blockbuster storm initially. But remember, I care about impacts. I don't care about how much snow falls at all. I know you do. A lot of people are really obsessed with the exact number of inches of snow that they get, but it's all about impacts to me. And those impacts, in my mind, are really going to start Friday afternoon, but that especially Friday night. Okay. So if you have Friday night plans, I think that's when things go downhill, and they're going to go downhill quickly. Are we going to get a ton of snow from this? I can't tell yet as a meteorologist. I don't think so. I really don't. At least initially, I think we're going to get most of our snow on the backside of this, which is Friday night into Saturday. All right. And it's turning cold and it's going to be windy. I think that's when it gets nasty. We'll give it another day, right? Tomorrow, hopefully, we'll have consensus. We'll have a better idea how this goes. But this is how I think it's going to go. I think we might get a quick burst, and that would be Friday morning. That could coincide with rush hour, but it would quickly change over to rain in my mind. Again, our forecast here. And then I agree with this rain. I agree with the rainy scenario. I just do. All right. That's the way things have gone. So why would I change it? Plus, there's going to be real mild air down towards the south. It's pulling up. Plus, the low pressure is really strong. So it's going to be able to bring that warm air in, not just here, but aloft up in the atmosphere. Okay. So I do think we change over to rain. And then I agree with this Friday afternoon into Friday evening, we quickly change over. And I mean quick. And I mean, we're going to have rain in my mind outside. It'll be rainy and windy and just raw, just gross, right? And then all of a sudden it turns white and we have snow all across the region because it'll change over as that heavy, cold, dense air moves in fast. And then things go downhill in a hurry. And people are like, wait, it was just raining. All right. So that Friday evening rush hour, I'm a little concerned with. All right. Friday morning, we'll have to keep an eye on the track of the low for that. And then on into Friday night and Saturday, I mean, this is a howling wind. We've got snowflakes flying. Temperatures are dropping. That's when it gets nasty Friday night into Saturday. All right. And then we talk really cold air this weekend. I'll show you some of the snowfall totals. Let's look. I can give you a preliminary look at the NAM nest. It doesn't quite go through the event. The HER doesn't quite get through the event either. But this is the NAM nest. Notice how the real heavy stuff's north. Okay. And again, this, I think, is how it's going to go, all right, in my mind, as of now. Could it change tomorrow? Sure, but we've had a good handle on these storm systems, I feel like. And this is the first model I like. So real heavy snow, does this make it into Chicago here, this heavy stuff? It could, all right, but we're forecasting for Northwest Indiana, so I think it misses Northwest Indiana, at least that initial burst, okay? So a little bit of snow lays down, perhaps Friday morning, and then we go all rain. And then once it changed back over, watch how fast this changes. We go from nothing on the ground with rain, okay, Friday early afternoon, and then by rush hour, we're piling it up. I mean, we're piling it up fast. So 4 to 8 inches by Friday at midnight, all right? Well, this model's saying 9 to 10. So that's my concern, all right? And that's going to be probably my messaging tomorrow if I don't see any changes on this, is that we deteriorate quickly on the backside of this event, which is Friday afternoon, Friday evening, okay? So just whatever you have going on coming up this weekend, keep an eye on that, all right? And put that in the back of your mind that if you have Friday evening plans, that's going to be the time to avoid as of right now, all right? Let me show you the global models real quick. So I didn't know if you were Wyatt. You're still in here. Let me show you global models real quick. River likes to look at these, right? Is Daddy looking at these all day, every day? Kind of. We're always looking at this. All right. So let's look at, I'll show you the Euro first. And again, I'm not saying I agree with these, but we need to look at them, okay, because they're models. And let me zoom in to get a little bit more specific here. We're really going to zoom in here. I'm going to go into Chicago so we get a good view of Northwest Indiana here too, okay? All right, this is the Euro, okay? This is the Euro Global as of today, and it has through, so here's Friday, that's the initial, and then it had some rain mixing in, and this is by Friday night, okay? It's got heaviest totals where the Euro doesn't think it's going to change over. It has mainly snow, so we're talking 10 inches by Friday night, but look at the sharp cutoff. We're 1 to 5 inches down in Newton and Jasper County. This is the Euro. I don't agree with this, all right, but I'm just showing you what it says, okay? And we'll see if it adjusts tomorrow. GFS is very similar to that. It's got the same idea with a real sharp cutoff. I mean, as a meteorologist, look at our counties. This is the area that I serve for you guys. Anywhere from 1 to 12 inches of snow, all right? And I know there's the meme that goes around that says anywhere from 1 to 100 or 0 to 100 inches of snow, partly cloudy, whatever. That's pretty much how it's going to go here, right? Just crazy. But both these models have Chicago getting buried, and that's where it gets tricky for Chicago forecasters because they're either going to get buried or they're going to turn rain for much of the event and then get some heavy snow on the backside. All right, so that's what we're dealing with. So those are the two major models I want to show you right now. We'll have a good picture of the high-res models tomorrow night. So we'll have a whole ensemble of models to show you. So there's that. Last thing I want to show you is the cold. All right. It's going to get really cold around here. It does every winter. It's a polar vortex. It's basically unleashing from the North Pole, the stratosphere, which keeps it spinning up there and keeps that cold air tight. It tends to weaken at times in the wintertime. And when it weakens, you get these blobs of cold air that go south on the globe. So that's what we see right now is there's a blob that's in Canada. This storm system is going to spin up and grab that blob of cold air and bring it down into the U.S. Happens most winters. It's not a huge deal, but it's going to get cold around here. So a couple precautionary things. Just make sure you're ready for it. All right. Pipes are a big thing. Tiger Plumbing reminds me of this. Make sure your outdoor spigots are turned off. What I mean by that, if you don't know, like you want to go outside and literally turn the valve on your spigot to make sure water doesn't come out, and you want to go inside your house, wherever that pipe goes to the outside spigot, and turn that valve on it, turn it off so the water cannot flow, and you want to drain it outside if there's any drip drops left. So that's one of the things you can do. Just make sure your furnace is good to go. I mean, you guys get it, but it's going to get cold, okay? And it doesn't look to be just one day. Sometimes it's 1 or 2 days. This is going to be multiple days. We get our first hit of the polar vortex starting on Sunday, really Saturday night. We'll go down to 4 Saturday night. And then it really kind of kicks in Monday into Tuesday. We get a little brief warm up to the teens on Wednesday as it looks right now. That's with another system that moves through that pulls more cold air down. So after that, we should be just cold, and it does look like we bounce out around the 25th. The GFS has us bouncing out around the 23rd, 24th, perhaps above freezing. But guys, this is a long time below freezing. All right. That's going to cause some problems in the ground with pipes, stuff like that. So let's just make sure we're ready for that on the backside of the system. Okay. All right, so that's what I've got. Erica wants to see the Canadian model. I see your comment there, Erica. All right, let's pull up the Canadian for you. There's too much information. I didn't want to clog it with a Canadian. Here's your Canadian. It doesn't even have a cutoff. I don't even know if it knows what's happening right now. It just has 8 inches for everybody. No rain, just 8 inches. Not even heavy snow. I mean, it's 8 for all of Chicago. I mean, yeah, a Canadian model. Sometimes it wins, not with hurricanes, though. It's not very good. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to answer a couple questions, and then I'm going to get to bed if that's okay. All right. Rich he says, good advice. Clean your sidewalks and driveway with any snow that we get before the big freeze happens. Great idea, Rich, for sure. Great idea. Okay, so I'll get to your questions here. This, again, guys, is kind of the accumulation forecast. I agree with most. This does not go through the entire event, but I'm going to let it run just so you get the picture of how quick that snow hits, okay? Nick says on Friday, do you think the roads will start getting difficult to drive on, or what time? Oh, God, yeah, plowing. Oh, I'm out in the country for sure, Nick. So, Nick, as of right now, it looks to be, I would say, anytime early afternoon. So maybe 2 o'clock would be my best guess as of right now. We can fine-tune that as time goes on. But as of right now, early afternoon, that can shift either way, but I feel pretty good about that right now. Okay. And by evening, it's just going downhill pretty quickly. Okay. Rachel says driving to Fort Wayne on Saturday, leaving 9 a.m. Well, Rachel, here's the deal with the driving questions. It's a good question. It depends on how good of a winter weather driver you are. I've met some really bad winter weather drivers, and I've met some good ones. It just depends on how good of a driver you are. In terms of what we'll have on radar, we'll likely have strong winds still. It's going to be getting colder, and we're going to have lots of snow blowing around. And so heading back towards areas of Fort Wayne, I mean, you're going with the system. So the roads are likely going to be bad that way too. I would say on a scale 1 to 10, I would probably put it at a 7 or 8 for being bad. I don't think we'll be in good shape Saturday morning. So just keep that in mind. Keep tuned to the forecast with this. There's not going to be a ton of snow with this, but there's going to be enough to cause some problems, especially, if we get in the 4 to 8 inch range. That happens in a hurry, and it's just be cold and windy. It's going to be very windy, so there's going to be drifting snow as well. Kathy asks about lake effect. So Kathy, beyond this, we get lake effect for like a week and a half. Southwest Lower Michigan and up towards Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, it's going to be just lake effect for days. Let me show you that. For us here in the region, I think it's not really a favorable setup for a ton of lake effect. LaPorte County might get some of this, but let me show you. I want to go back to the modeling. I want to show you long-term kind of how much snow we're expecting here. I'll go GFS because it's not that far off. But watch the lake effect. I mean, there's just cold air constantly coming over the lake. So this is next Monday. This is next Wednesday. This is next Friday. It just continues to go. The lake effect machine is just on because there's so much cold air with a constant wind. So areas of Michigan, I mean, LaPorte County, we're going to have to watch this because we could get some banding there, but the bulk of it's going to be in Michigan. And we're talking, and all the models say this, and I agree with this with the setup, anywhere from 20 to 45 inches of snow by January 25th. But there's going to be constant lake effect up there. So great call on that for sure. Maxwell, who always has great insight, says the snow cutoff line is similar to the temperatures in the spring. South of I-80 could be 70, north in the 40s. And what he means by that is in the springtime with the lake breeze, it's basically the Boardman. That's the dividing line between real cold air, and then you get to Maryville down towards the south, and all of a sudden it's warm. Kind of the same to that. Yeah, you're right. You're right with that for sure, Maxwell. Francesca, will have rain around as it looks right now. All right. So keep that in mind in terms of what time it starts on Friday. We will have rain around, and then it's going to quickly change to snow. So there's that. John Jones joining us over in Canton, Ohio. When you put ice cubes down the toilets, yeah. So John, here in Ohio, I'll tell you, I don't think we're going to get a lot of snow, but we're going to get really cold, and we're going to have a couple storms to watch. One of which is next week. So that's that. All right, let me skip down real quick. I'll answer a couple more, and then some of us have to get to bed. I'm sorry. And Jackie, thank you for the support. I appreciate that. Jeff asks a great question. So he says, will we get a flash freeze? And Adrian asks that question as well. Is icing going to be a big issue? Yes, I do think it becomes an issue. The good news is that it's not a flash freeze from the rain directly to the snow and cold. Okay. It gets colder and it will freeze, but it doesn't go from rain to 0 degrees. All right. That 0 degrees happens Saturday night after we've already had some snow. Okay. So we've already had time to kind of transition. So not the real bad flash freeze where you have heavy rain and then you go down to 0 degrees and it's all ice. But keep in mind, there's not going to be much time for runoff or snow melt or anything like that with temperatures in the 20s on Saturday. It's Saturday night that it gets really cold, and that's after it's been snowing for a little bit. There's my joke. Kyle coming through. That's the one I was talking about earlier. The 0 to 100 inches expected. Kyle, you probably missed it earlier, but I said literally that's what's going to happen in the region. All the models showing either an inch down in southern Newton and Jasper counties to 15 inches off towards the north. We are literally on that dividing line. So that's very accurate, Kyle. I know you're, poking fun at meteorologists, but that's really what's happening with this. So there's that. Sarah, so that's a great question, Sarah. Do we think we'll be upgraded to winter storm warning? The reason why, so here's the reason. The reason why we're not upgraded to that yet, and they'll probably really hold off on that, is because we still don't know where that rain snow line is going to set up. All right. And I don't think we will initially because of a messaging standpoint. What I do think is that, at least in my gut, what I'm thinking is that we would probably end up with a winter storm warning, but it would be for Friday night into Saturday. Okay. And it all depends on how much snow we can get. We got to crank some snow out of that. So there's that. Yeah. Jeff says at least the mosquitoes won't be that bad. BKY or BCY, I see your comment. Thank you for that. And Bill asks, no Snowmageddon. Bill, no, this isn't Snowmageddon. This isn't Blizzard of the Century. I want everyone to hear that, even my trolls out there. Okay. This isn't going to be storm of the century. But I do think Friday afternoon, Friday night, that's when we go downhill, and it's going to get real tricky Friday night. It's going to be tricky Saturday as well. Okay. All right. Last question. Jackie, I see your comment too. Last question is from Kevin. All right. He says, trade Justin Fields or draft a quarterback. River, what do you think? Do you think the Bears should trade Justin Fields?
I think so.
He thinks so. Yeah. Well, he needs traded. He's a Buckeye. I gotta go with my Buckeyes. I'd say keep him. He's improved. So there's that. Okay, guys. We'll be back with you again tomorrow night. All right. As we get closer, obviously, we want to chat about this again. So we'll chat tomorrow night, probably around the same time. I got to be honest. Okay. So there's that. All right. Paul says, hit the wind map for drifts with us. Paul wants to see the wind map. Paul, we're going to have gusts over 40, so we're going to get some good drifting out of this. Let's do wind gusts with this, okay? Here we go. So here's system coming in. We've got gusts to 40. No snow yet, or not a lot. And then here's the back side of it Friday night. That's the low going over us. This happened last time. We talked about it's kind of like the eye of a hurricane. Everything dies down and everyone goes outside and says, what storm system? And then it moves back in. Okay, so here's your gusty winds on the backside. So 20 to 35, maybe a 40-mile-per-hour gust in there on the backside with the snow. So it is going to be windy, but we've seen worse. It's not going to be blizzard-like wind with big drifts. Okay, so there's that. All right, guys, I appreciate you. So many of you are just so kind with your words, so I do appreciate that. I think that's all I've got. Elisa's birthday is Friday, so I'm hoping for a good winter storm. That would be a nice, memorable storm. So Friday evening, have people over and have them stay. Okay. All right, guys, we'll talk to you again tomorrow. All right. I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to join me tonight. I really do. I appreciate each and every one of you. Okay.